And today, a great privilege to have with us the Chief Economist for CommSec, and that's Craig James. Welcome, Craig.
Thank you very much.
Right, now let's talk property. Tell me about your take on the Australian property market, specifically.
I think we've got a better balance between supply and demand. And I suppose we need to think back of what's happened over the last couple of years. We had the global financial crisis, we had interest rates slashed, we had grants to first home buyers, that supported the housing market, and we had more units and homes and townhouses created, so more building happened. So we had more supply on the market, and that's been coming through over the last 12 months or so. But demand, well, that was brought forward. You know, that's been choked off a bit. So I think we've got a bit more up in terms of supply, demand's come down. And because of that situation, we've got a degree of consolidation in terms of home prices. So they were going gangbusters, 2008, 2009, early parts of 2010, but we've had the correction we had to have over, the last year or so. I think people always need to look back over the last 5 or 7 years with property. And here in Adelaide, prices have risen by, on average, around about 7% a year over the last 5 years, which is a pretty reasonable outcome. I don't think people should work on the principle of that's going to continue to happen, because really I think home prices should be rising in line with household incomes going forward. And I think that's probably going to see a recovery in home prices over the next 12 months, but probably only 1%, 2%, 3%, not shooting the lights out.
So 2012, let's talk South Australia. We're at 5.2%, I think, reduction in the median price compared to, we're sort of middle stream really. Canberra and Sydney doing much better than us, and Brisbane doing worse. What are your thoughts about from now, like basically the end of 2011 through the whole of 2012? We're talking this time next year. What's your prediction?
Something like 3% growth.
3% growth.
Yeah, 3% growth. I think we're going to see the prices have now come down, and I think a modest increase over the next 12 months, and you'll see 2 or 3% higher than what we are at present. And then I think once you average it out again over the last 5, 6, 7 years, you're going to see growth in home prices, 4 or 5%, and you'd have to say, okay, that's a reasonable outcome. It's matching growth in incomes, and it's the sort of situation that you want to see. Clearly, here in Adelaide, you're not seeing massive developments where and homes are empty.
There's no oversupply at all.
No, you've got very tight rental market still. So you think about the influences. Unemployment's low. You've got interest rates which have come down. You haven't got an oversupply of property, and you've got a tight rental market. Well, you add all those factors up, and it does look as though we are going to see growth in terms of the housing market.